The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Greetings, people of Earth, and welcome to the Third Floor Podcast. We are here on a Tuesday night trying to keep the NFL Tuesday night show going. We sat down, figured out, come up with a concept, and we did. We're going to do it in a different way. We're going to bring you NFL history, and what we're going to do is we're going to the 1960 season, the first AFL-NFL season combined. We're going to take a look at each week and walk through the games and see what's happening. Some names of the past, some numbers, some stats, some craziness. All coming up here on the third floor, bringing you NFL history, 1960, NFL, AFL season. Why don't we get right into it? All right, let's get into it. Oh, by the way,
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
no, we are not. Not after that shellacking. I'll tell you that's for damn sure. Yeah, let's get this going. Let's get the show going. Oof. Man, you talk about going down a rabbit hole. We went down a rabbit hole. We just got to just a little see what it was like back in them days there. A few pictures here for you. We're going to pop them up as we go along. But right now, let's get it started, man. We're going to take a walk back to 1960. That was a long time ago. Longer than I want to think about because I was born in 63. So we're pretty close to where I started. But anyway, let's do this. NFL history 1960, the AFL first year pre-Super Bowl. What you're going to see there on the ticker is the standings for the AFL. This is the AFL, how it looked back in the day in the standings. Your AFL East. No spoilers here, even though we're going week by week. You don't know any of the games. The Oilers, 10-4. Your New York Titans, later to become the Jets, 7-7. The Bills, established. These records are pretty cool. 5-8-1. I like that. Boston Patriots, later to become New England. Now, what you'll notice here is a total of 14 regular season games for the AFL. The AFL decided to play those 2 extra games for their season. However, the NFL, as you'll see when I roll that one, the NFL only went on a 12-game regular season schedule. So, a couple games extra for the AFL, so these guys were probably a little bit more beaten up when it came playoff time to play against the NFL later on with that type of a season going. 14 games versus 12 back then was pretty massive. You can see these still clear. There's a little history for you. The Dallas Texans later to become the Kansas City Chiefs were 8-6 that year. The Oakland Raiders went 6-8. This is the AFL West. All you had was East and West, nothing in between. Your Denver Broncos 4-9. And here's what it looked like for the playoffs that year. Your LA Chargers, who started in LA, went to San Diego, and as you can see, later back to LA. At the Houston Oilers, and they lost that game 24-16. That was the AFL's playoff championship. That was in Jespin Stadium in Houston, Texas. And also going, we're going to run you the NFL history of the NFL. And as you can see there, the NFL only played a 12-game schedule. That was the way they rocked, man. And in case you're wondering, here's the lineup for the 1960 NFL season. In the East, we have the Eagles, who won it. They won. They were 10-2 over the Cleveland Browns, 8-3-1. Like I said, these standings, you'll never see standings like this ever again, especially this one. 6-4-2 on the Giants. St. Louis Cardinals. Now, this is the East, my friends. Oh, notice the Browns are playing with the Giants in the same conference. Pretty cool how they had the lineups back then, how everything was aligned. So you got the Giants, like I said, 6-4-2, Cardinals 6-5-1. Your Pittsburgh Steelers. Yep, the established Pittsburgh Steelers 5-6-1, and the Washington Redskins. What? We're 1-9-2. Like I said, you're never going to see standings like this. Then we move to the NFL West. This is where it gets interesting. This is pretty cool, especially this lineup of teams. This is a pretty tight division, to be honest with you. This is pretty stout. Your Green Bay Packers, obviously, 8-4. Detroit Lions, as you can see, the Detroit Lions were pretty decent back in the day, 7-5. Your San Francisco 49ers, 7-5. Notice who's out in the West. So even when they were lining these guys up, they didn't always get it right. But there they are, the Baltimore Colts in the NFL West, 6-6. Your LA Rams, 4-7-1. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It never gets old. It's still the same old Cowboys. 1960, the Cowboys were 11-1. What a tremendous year for those Cowboys. Even in 1960, they can't get it right. We'll get into that. As a matter of fact, let's get into week 1 of the. We'll start off with the NFL. Now, what they also did back in the day is they used Friday night. So you have a game Friday night, a game Saturday night, and then you had 4 games on Sunday back in the day. The AFL was pretty much on that same schedule, even though they only had a slate of 4 games. So they would play Friday night, Saturday, and then 2 on Sunday. 2 games on Sunday as opposed to the 4 games being played in the NFL. So you could see things were a lot different back. I mean, a lot different. A whole lot different, man. Especially scheduling wise, you know. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. That sounds like a pretty cool gig. I wouldn't mind them doing that again. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Think that's a good idea? Friday night? Fuck Thursday. Thursday always seemed to me to be the wrong night to do that. Always seemed like you wanted Friday, closer to Sunday, so whatever. But put it in the comments. Let me know. Do you think that's a good idea? Friday night game. Not getting crazy, 2-3 games. I'm just saying a Friday night game, a Saturday night game, and then the rest of the schedule. Sunday night, Monday. And there you go. I can get with that, especially if we go into expansion. They're going to have to do something. So they'll do that. So also, let's take a little bit of other thing. Let's take a look at some of the leaders of the 1960 season, and then we're gonna run down Week 1 in the NFL. So you sure got to work? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna run. Like I said, we're gonna do the NFL Week 1 first, and as we look at the matchups, I'll bring this closer. There we go. Oh, that's much better. I should have been doing this all along. Man, that's whatever. September 23rd, 1960. St. Louis Cardinals are against the LA Rams in Los Angeles. The St. Louis Cardinals win the game 43-21. The following day on Saturday, September 24th, 1960, the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Dallas Cowboys on a 35-28. Let me get back to this St. Louis. I'm sorry. The St. Louis and Ram game, your passing leader was John Roach for St. Louis, 205 yards. Your leading rusher for that game was Hamrick. Let me see if I can get this guy's full name here, so we're not shortchanging him. He led the game. We're going to shortchange if we can't find his first name. He only had 65 yards rushing anyway. So 205 yards passing, 65. These led the game. These are game leaders. And receiving yards was Sonny Randall of the Cardinals, and he had a big day, man. 159. 159 he had. So out of the 205 yards that Roach threw for Randall, he handled 159 of them that day. 43-21. Next day, 35-28, Steelers over the Cowboys. Eddie LeBron was the quarterback for Dallas. He threw for 345 yards. The leading rusher was Tracy. Again, I don't have his. Let me see if I got his name. No, I ain't got his first name either. Boy. Tracy for the Steelers was your leading rusher with 64 yards. So it seemed a little rough trying to run there in 1960. We got 65 and 64. And here's another big receiver. We got his name, Jim Doran of Dallas, 154 of the 345 yards that LeBron threw for. Then we moved to the Sunday slate. The Sunday games, the Redskins shut out by the Baltimore Colts in Baltimore 20-0. Johnny Unitas led the Colts with 232 yards passing. And again, real low on the rushing here, man. No wonder none of these guys are in that top. Moore for the Baltimore Colts rushed for 56 yards. So again, rushing was not all there. And let's see, the leading receiver was Berry, Raymond Berry for the Colts, and he only had 60 yards. So the statistics in that game are low. 20-0. It's a shutout. It seems like it was a. Let's see. The next game here is the Chicago Bears in Green Bay, and they beat the Packers 17-14. Browkowski of the Bears threw for 178. The leading rusher on the day was from the Packers. That's Jim Taylor. We all know that name. If you're in NFL history, you know that name, Jim Taylor. Got to know that name. He rushed for 83 yards, so he almost had 100 yards. Pretty cool. And the leading receiver on the day was D-Well of the Bears, and he caught 97 out of the 178 that Browkowski threw. The next game was the Cleveland Browns visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. The Browns all over the Eagles, 41-24. Norm Van Brocklin of the Eagles was a leading passer with 251. I believe, oh man, testing me here, man. That's trying to get these guys' first names without looking. Bobby Mitchell, the Browns. He was the leading rusher, and here we go. Mitchell ran for 156 yards. He ran all over the Eagles that day. And the leading receiver was for the Eagles was Retzlaff with 80 yards. 41-24, Browns all over the Eagles. The last game on that Sunday slate was the New York Giants visiting the San Francisco 49ers and beating the 49ers 21-19. Here's a name that you really don't get to hear a lot. I mean, well, you hear it a lot because when they start talking records, this guy's name is all over the quarterback book. Your leading passer was Y.A. Tittle for 233 yards. Your leading rusher for the San Francisco 49ers was Y.A. Tittle, 48 yards rushing. Your leading receiver, it wasn't Tittle, was Stickles for 123. So out of the 233, he had 123 in the loss. So Tittle run probably the earlier version of Michael Vick probably, or Randall. But Y.A. Tittle was something else. He was all. He was all. Y.A. Tittle. Later to go to the Giants. But that wraps up the Sunday games for the NFL. Your top passer, well, like I said, was Bobby Lane. No, the second leading quarterback on the day was Milt Plum for the Cleveland Browns. And he was 9 for 11 for 67 yards, 1 touchdown. Bobby Lane, by the way, had 4 touchdowns in that game. Your top receiver was Sonny Randall, like I said, for the Rams. He had 159, 3 touchdowns. And right below him was Jim Dorn of the Cowboys. He had four receptions for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Good God, what a day. Holy Christ. Wow. That's a day, folks. 4 catches, 154 yards. Woof. That's connected, man. These guys played wide fucking open, man. Holy shit. All right, here we go. This is interesting, folks. Pay attention to this stat. Your top rushers for week 1 in the NFL. Like I said, Bobby Mitchell, the Cleveland Browns, in their win 41-24 over Cleveland over the Eagles, 41-24. He had 14 carries for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. And guess who was in the backfield with him? That's right, people. None other than probably pound for pound the greatest running back to ever play the game, Jim Brown. And Jim Brown ran 24 times for 153 yards. So 309 yards between two running backs on 38 carries and 3 touchdowns. I would say Cleveland was pretty good in the backfield, man. I think they had a running game. Wow. I was not expecting that, folks. I'm looking at these first time like you are. I did not pre-look into this. I'm being just as shocked as you are. That is fucking impressive. Let's see how that streak goes. This is only week 1. So there you go. That's the NFL breakdown there. We're going to switch over to the AFL next and get that one going. And all right, let me take a break real quick and just say, hey, we are live on Rumble. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. So you can get there. The X link is in the descriptions. Rumble. Hey, if you're not on Rumble and you're watching on YouTube and you're tired of all the ads and all the everybody editing themselves and talking in code, come on over to Rumble. I put a link in the descriptions. Click that, and you could use my referral, and you save. Hey, we got Steve Crowder, we got Jimmy Dore, we got Nick DiPaolo, we got ABO, we got Veteran Biker, we got Barry Cunningham and Fanfare. Tucker Carlson's over there. They're all there. Everyone. Steve Bannon, come on over and join us. You a gamer? Do you play games? You play a lot of video games, all kinds of crazy video games? Rumble is the place for you too. You wouldn't even think that, but trust me, you get on here and you start looking in through the selections of what you could look and the channels and everything. It is loaded with gamers. There's guys on here that play 24 freaking 7. I don't know if they sleep or not, but that's on Rumble. So come on over to Rumble and join up because we're growing and we're growing fast. And like I told you, I'm striving to be #1 in sports on this freaking Rumble, man. Trying hard. Um, like I said, we got a lot of heavies over here, man. We even got the Bongino man over here. All right, so everything's over here on Rumble. It's growing big. Locals is now Rumble. Mug Club from Steve Crowder is now Rumble. It's all one big package, man, and the price is right. It's cheaper than YouTube. It's cheaper than YouTube, and it's a lot more freer. So get in there. And if you're on YouTube, I love you guys, man. You know that. I blast YouTube because of what they've done to us. Okay, it's very difficult to get through here. Okay, especially on the on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. But I love you guys on YouTube. You're very important to me. You're where I began. Okay, so like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, notify so you know when I'm on. Like I said, you never know when we're coming on. So here we are. So get in there, and if you're watching on Rumble, man, love you guys. Appreciate you. The numbers are growing. The shows are there. Got tons of shows to go back and watch and everything else. Hit that like, hit that follow. Give a rant, live chat, anything. We're here for you. So get involved. Get in the chat and let me know. Who's your favorite team? We got baseball coming up. We got the Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday, and we're wrapping it up. We just wrapped up football. Hockey's in full swing. I mean, all kinds of shit's going on. The Masters are coming up. So there's plenty to do in between now and the beginning of the NFL season. And like I said, what we're going to do here on the third floor, we're going to keep Tuesday Night Alive with the NFL. And what we decided to do is break it down and do an NFL history show. And this is the first show. And what we're doing is we're starting in 1960, the AFL's first year, incorporating with the NFL. And we're going to break it down week by week. So we're on week 1. We just finished week 1 with the NFL, and we're going to move on over to the AFL games. So here we go. Let me switch that around. So that was your NFL leaders. And now we'll go with your AFL leaders. And while that's rolling along, we'll do a little switcheroo here. I don't know why I put them on top to begin with. I knew that in the beginning. I shouldn't have done that, I thought. Alrighty. All right, so before I do that,
You better give up them cigarettes, buddy, or the groundhogs will be bringing you your mail. Know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean, brother. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. Hear you loud and clear, my friend. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Rumble, live chat, it's up. Got something? Let's go. Let me know how you're enjoying the show so far. You just joined and you missed a bunch, but we're here. We're going to be here for a minute. All right, let's move to the, like I said, we're moving to the, what the hell? There we go. We're moving to week 1 of the AFL season. And like I said earlier, they're playing a 14-game schedule. The NFL only played a 12-game schedule. And the alignments, like I said, the alignments are crazy. So just to continue, here we go. We got the Denver Broncos visiting the Boston Patriots at the time, and Denver walks away with a 13-10 win. Tripucka is your Frank Tripucka is your leading passer on the game for 180. Let's see here. I think it's so tight. I gotta get a bigger screen. Mingo is your for the Broncos is your leading rusher, 66 yards. So aside from Brown and Taylor, the other in the NFL with 153 and 156 combined. I mean, each that is fucking nuts. Everybody else was low. This continues the low pattern of 60. I think we have one other guy with 80. One other guy in the NFL with 83 on the first week. But these numbers are very low and staying consistent with the league. Even the passing numbers are low. Receiving yards is Al Carmichael for the Broncos, 130. So you see, there's like one target on it. There's like one target here. So just like in the NFL, the AFL is kind of replicating the same type of play of football. So we could see, they're there. They're going to make their point in a few years, but they're already showing the establishment just in numbers. So our second game on the slate is the Dallas Texans, who we know later become the Kansas City Chiefs. They're in L.A. playing the Chargers, who originally were in Los Angeles, moved to San Diego, and back to L.A. This was a tight one. Dallas Texans at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers pull it out 21-20. You had Steve Kemp, your leading passer for the Chargers, 275 yards in the air. Spikes is your leading rusher for the Dallas Texans with 62. So there you go, 66, 62, 63, 83. And your leading receiver, Anderson, for the Chargers, 103. So I guess he had a few other targets, but still a majority of them. We're seeing a majority of the passing yards, the majority of them are by one guy that this guy is passing to, which is cool. I mean, this is cool. This is really cool. Okay, I'm sorry. The Denver Bronco Boston Patriot game, that was a Friday night game played on September 9th, 1960. September 10th is the Dallas Texans and the Los Angeles Charger game, played on September 10th, 1960. And we move on to September 11th. September 11th, 1960, where we had the Buffalo Bills visiting the New York Titans, who later become the New York Jets. It looks like the Jets had their number there. They beat them 26. They beat the Bills 27-3. Jameson is your leading passer for the Jets, 152. Your leading rusher is Hart for the Jets with 66. There you go. It's crazy how the numbers work out. And Maynard, of course, this was his second. This I think is his rookie year, man. I think this is the rookie year. Yeah. So Maynard, 116 receiving yards. So added to 152, 116, one target. And the final game on that Sunday, September 11th, 1960, the Houston Oilers visited the Oakland Raiders, and they beat the Raiders 37-22. George Blanda is the quarterback for the Houston Oilers, and he threw for 279 yards. Your leading rusher is Smith, 104. And Tony Teresa for Oakland was the leading receiver, 116. So they had a little bit of a passing game and a running game, and seemed to work out for the Oilers in week one. So there you go. They only had a four-game slot back, four-game schedule back then. I know, it's almost time to tune up. But we look at the week one leading passers. Like I said, Frank Tripucka for the Broncos. He was 10 for 15 for 180. Wow, 102.1 rating that day. One touchdown, one interception. That's pretty impressive. 10 completes, 180 yards. A lot of quarterbacks I know would love a day like that. George Blanda, like I said, he's quarterback for the Houston Oilers, later traded to the Oakland Raiders, ironically. What did he do? He was 19 for 37, 279, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 101 rating. Pretty cool. Let's see who the top receivers. Al Carmichael for the Broncos, 6 catches, 130 yards and a touchdown. 6 catches. Good Lord. Tony Teresa of the Raiders, 6 catches, 116, 1 touchdown. And Don Maynard, 4 catches. 4 catches, 116 yards. Good man, these guys they were either wide open or, man, it was Cannon City. It must have been fun to watch these games, Rob. It must have been real fun to watch these fucking games. Your top rushers, Dave Smith of the Houston Oilers, 19 carries for 104 yards, 1 touchdown. Pete Hart of the Titans, 11 carries, 66 yards. So there you go. And Gene Mingo, like I said, eight carries, 66 yards. So he had a big day in the ground. But like I said, Boston came up on the short end. Even with that big day, they only put up 10 points. That's pretty impressive. So let's take one game. Let's look at one game here. Let's look at the 21-20 game, Chargers and Texans. Who I said later become your Kansas City Chiefs. Whoops. Oh. Boy, the way this loads sometimes is crazy. Dallas Texans, let's see. All right. Your head coach is Hank Stram for the Dallas Texans. Makes sense. When they went to Kansas City, he stayed aboard. And we all know he's trickulating down the field, fellas. Keep it trickulating down the field. And that famous call. Just the way he talks. So, yeah, and then they, like I said, the Dallas Texans moved to Kansas. Later to become the Chiefs.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
And Sid Gilman was the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Like I said, Saturday game. Played in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. And the box score. The first quarter, Texans were up 6-0. At halftime, they were up 20-7. Chargers come roaring back. Nobody scored in the third quarter, and they scored 14 in the final quarter. That is whack. Let's see how we did here. Your first quarter scoring was Chris Buford with a 12-yard pass from Cotton Davison. I guess they missed the extra point. Yep, there you go. Special teams even back then, man. And the goalpost was at the goal line. Probably not an easy kick. That's probably harder. When they moved it back, probably made it easier for these guys. Be totally honest with you. I'm a former kicker, I would know. Second quarter, you have the Texans scoring on a 1-yard rush from Jack Spikes. And then Jack Spikes kicks the extra point. Pretty impressive. 13-0. Then the Chargers later on with Ralph Anderson hitting on a 46-yard pass from Jack Kemp. 13-7. Then the Texans just before halftime. Abner Hayes receives a 17-yard touchdown pass from Cotton Davis. Old Jack Spikes out there for the extra point, and he nails it. And then we have a 20-7 lead at halftime. Nothing in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, Jack Kemp on a 7-yard rush, 20-14. And then Howie Ferguson with a 4-yard reception from Jack Kemp, making it 21-20. And that is your final. It was 75. There was a slight wind of 10 miles an hour, and the Vegas line was Dallas Texans -3. Woo! I guess the bookies like the Texans early on in the early birth of the 60s. That's pretty crazy. Well, that was pretty cool looking at that. And, that was pretty neat, running down week 1. And we got 15 weeks. So maybe next week we'll double up. We'll do week 2 and 3, being it wasn't really, maybe we'll get a little bit more in depth. Let's take a look at where was that blowout? That was the NFL, right? Yeah, the NFL had the blowout. We're going to go look at the blowout for a second. Let's check that game out real quick. So, while I'm waiting for that to load, Rumble, like, subscribe, follow, whatever, rant, rave, live chat, comment, anything, where you at, who you from, where you watching from, are you on the planet, are you not on the planet, where you at? All right, let's do this. Let's see what we got here. We're going week 1. We're live on Rumble. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. Get in the description. Check out all the links. Got tons of links in there, man. We got W. We got Reaper Apparel and Christiana's Designer Handbags. Bowser Bros Painting. We got all kinds of stuff in there. So get in there and save some money. Let's take a look at this game, this week 1 here. Where was the blowout? The blowout was 43-21. Let's go. Let's look at the Cleveland Brown game. Let's look at this game. This is the game where we had dual running backs, 156 and 153. Let's see what this box score looks like. I'm waiting for that to load, as usual. So, another part of the NFL history show. Is this still loading? No. Okay. All right, we'll get to the game in a second. What was I saying? What we're going to do is part of the history. We're going to run down team records. So what you see in there, for instance, is team records. The New York Giants in their history since 1925 to 2004. Every number is up to date. That's what their totals are. When they've been in the playoffs, 34 playoffs. They won 25, lost 26. 34 ties, I'm sorry. Playoffs, they're 25 and 26. Championships, they have 8. Super Bowls, they have 4. Conference, they have 5. Division, 25. Philadelphia Eagles, like I said, since 1933 to 2024. This is the only number I didn't change. They are now 500 as a team. They are 639 and 639 and 27. Playoffs, they are 28 and 26. Championships, 4. Super Bowls, 2. Their conference is up to date and their division is up to date. The Kansas City Chiefs, who are scrolling by, well, we got to add a couple numbers to them too. So since 1960, which we're looking at right now, and we just looked at the game, the Texans in losing the game there to the Chargers, 21-20. Right now they are 547 and 442. 442. 12 playoffs. They are 25 and 22. Championships, 5. Super Bowls, 4. Conferences, 6. Division, 17. And then the rest roll. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I didn't get a chance to update the win-loss. But there you go. You're up to date, exactly where you need to be. And I'll let them scroll by. There's a couple more. There's a couple teams on there. Let's look at this Cleveland Browns Philadelphia Eagle game. The coach of the Cleveland Browns at that time was Paul Brown, who they're named after. And this was a Sunday game, played in Franklin Field in Philadelphia, just on the outside of Philadelphia. The Eagles at that time were coached by Buck Shaw. Scoring, first quarter, Browns 14-3 over the Eagles. And at halftime, it was 24-10. They scored a touchdown in the third, shut the Eagles out in the third. They put 10 up in the fourth, and the Eagles put 14 up in the fourth. 41-24. And we look at the score, and the Browns, Bobby Mitchell on a 31-yard burst, 7-0. Later on that quarter, Jim Brown on a 1-yard, 14-0. The Eagles kick a 21-yard field goal. We're at 14-3. We move to the second quarter. Second quarter started the scoring with a 36-yard field goal. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bobby Watson, a 21-yard field goal, 14-3 to end the first quarter. Second quarter, Sam Baker hits a 36-yard field goal. We're at 17-3. Eagles come back with a 25-yard pass from Norm Van Brocklin to Tommy McDonald. We're at 17-10. The Browns milk Plum on a quarterback sneak, I would imagine, 24-10. We move to the third quarter. Bobby Mitchell on a 30-yard burst again. So he has a 30-yard touchdown run and a 31-yard touchdown run. We're at 31-10. We move to the fourth quarter. The Browns, Sam Baker hits a 15-yard field goal. And that was legit 15. That was from the 15. So they were at the 7. Yeah, he hits a 15-yard field goal. We're at 34-10. Eagles, Bobby Watson gets a 10-yard pass from Norm Van Brocklin. We're at 34-17. Bobby Mitchell, 11-yard pass reception from Milt Plum. We're at 41-17. And the Eagles get a miracle or a late touchdown when Sonny Jurgensen hits Pete Retzlaff for 6 yards, 41-24. So there you go, man. There it is. So Sonny Jurgensen went in and replaced Norm Van Brocklin. Pretty cool. That's some pretty cool shit right there. So there you go, man. So we wrapped it up. We took a look at the game. We'll get into it more. It's like I said, it's our first show. We're learning. I'm looking at these numbers and scores and everything for the first time. The only thing I'm doing is getting stats together, and that's on a whole different thing. So next week, we'll be back Tuesday night with another NFL history show. Like I said, next week we'll do week 2 and week 3. We'll double it up. We'll have some more stuff and more stats and more craziness going on. So I appreciate everybody who stopped in. I appreciate everybody who's going to stop in later and watch this replay. Please like, share, follow, do, be, bop. Hit the comments anytime. We're always willing to. We can't wait to interact with you. So we need you to participate by getting in the comments section and in the live chat. Okay? I would appreciate all that. And like I said, here on the third floor, we do what we can. We are going to be number 1 on YouTube. And we're going to be number 1 on Rumble as far as sports goes. I'm telling you right now, it's in the cards, folks. It's in the cards. We're going to work hard and we're going to get that. We're going to do it. So I can only do it with your help. So get it in that description, help the sponsors out, help the show out. Comment, like, share, follow, do all that happy horse shit. If you're on YouTube, hit the bell thing for the notification. Appreciate that. And if you're on Rumble, like, follow, rant. If we're here, man, live chat, we're always live. Shows are always live. I rarely record anything and put it up. I'd rather come on live and be live so we can interact with the audience in a live setting. So, like I said, if you enjoyed the show, definitely come back next Tuesday when we do another NFL history. We'll have more teams and their histories and what the records are. We'll bring up, like I said, we're going to run through every game from week 2, week 3, from the NFL season and the AFL season. Team histories, there's going to be names in there. We're going to see a lot of Hall of Famers. We're going to see the difference in the game between what was played then to now. I mean, just technology alone, just the technology alone, the coverage of the sport, going to TV, being broadcast in color, and just evolving into this mega money making machine that we all know and love as the NFL. And we love to criticize. Let's be honest. We love to criticize the NFL. But hey, we criticize every sport. We criticize every team. We criticize every player. We criticize every official. We criticize every writer, every sportscaster, every announcer. We criticize everything. That's the beauty of sports. That we all could have an opinion about something. and be able to talk about it like fucking human beings and not fucking degenerates. You know what I mean? Like Philadelphia fans, Boston fans. Share this with you. But yeah, but just looking like I said in the early beginning of it when we were looking at the numbers and the games. And then I'm glad I went into to break the games down to get an idea of the box score and check all that out, because that was really cool to see exactly how the balance was. The whole thing in the beginning was that they were inferior to the NFL. They were a lower grade. They weren't they were too good to play college, but not good enough to be in the NFL. But we'll see the progression because, like I said, we're just went through the first week, and both leagues pretty much mirror each other in the statistics, the numbers, even the scores to an extent. A couple blowouts here, close games here. Uh, it's just amazing how many names are in the AFL who later became just NFL greats overall. But it'll be cool to see, how they started, especially the AFL. Remember, this is their first year. This is the birth of the AFL becoming a competition for the NFL at that time. Very bold move from a bunch of brave owners. We'll get into that too. We'll see who owned these teams at that time, and like I said, as the history show moves on, we'll get more and more and more into a lot of the behind the game, and of course, we're going to pay attention to everything that goes on the field, without a doubt. But just like today, then there were still headlines, there's still news stories, there's storylines, there's injuries, there's guys that play hurt, there's guys who have stellar games and historic games, and probably some of the hardest, incredible, violent, brutal version of football ever. We'll never get back to that version of the game. We just won't. And what's amazing to me is how these guys here in the older days held up a lot better than the guys do today. And today's guys are so conditioned and dieted, nutritions, and gurus following them, and Zen boosts, and floating and freaking hyper channels, or whatever the fuck they are. And these guys were beer guzzling, cigarette smoking, cigar smoking, women chasing, bar brawling, foul mouth motherfuckers. And they got through it. I mean, these guys have battle scars, without a doubt. And I can't imagine what if you were able to look into it medically, what the concussion numbers were. I mean, even if they've recognized it, I mean, these guys must have been playing like when they were on another planet out there. I mean, we got to take it into account too that at this time, nothing, and still to this day in the NFL, your contract, you're not guaranteed that money because of the risk of injury. Because of that injury risk, you're not guaranteed this money. You hear all this crazy money in football. These guys are not guaranteed every dime, man. Anything happens to them, man, these teams don't have to pay them. Unlike fucking baseball. I don't know what fucking basketball is. Care less, really. But hockey protects to a certain extent. It's not as much as the NFL. But also, these guys, they had to play hurt. You go to the coach and say, "Hey, I'm kind of banged up today. I can't play." Whoever he puts in might take your fucking job, and you're making peanuts back then, man. You couldn't afford these guys today. That's the other thing. When you talk about the evolution of the game and how we grew away from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s to an extent, how we grew away from that. But what didn't grow away from that is, these guys were the epitome of the sport, man. These guys played in an era, man, where a flag was very rare for a personal foul. Face mask. I'm sure if you follow my show, you see I put an opening up of all kinds of NFL photos, and I put some brutal ones. I found some brutal ones. All right. There's one I got on there from the Cleveland Browns. The guy's being tackled. He's looking out his eye hole. Okay. So you really had to egregiously. Even then, man, I've seen films and there's no flags, and it's just like these guys couldn't do it today. These guys today couldn't play in the '60s, but the guys in the '60s could play today because they're still great athletes. They're still great at the game, and the game is the game. And to be honest with you, almost everything is based off of every one of them. And going back to guys like Paul Brown, uh, you know, uh, a lot of these coaches' names, uh, you may have never heard of them, but that's where it started. Okay, you know, so the evolution of the sport has grown to an amazing level. But let's remember where it started. Let's remember the guys who put the footpath there, man. Let's remember the guys who held the grass down in the beginning to make the path for everybody else to. They created this path to these millions and millions of fucking dollars that they give these guys, insane fucking money. It's fucking mind-boggling, to be honest with you. But holy shit, you couldn't afford these guys, man. You couldn't afford Y.A. Tittle. You couldn't afford Jim Brown, Deacon Jones. Come on, Sonny Jurgensen, Bart Starr, Johnny U, Joe Namath. Come on, what are you going to pay them? I know we know their history and we've seen their history. We could look back on it. Like nobody had like a crystal ball saying, but the talent was there. Somebody do it. They paid them to do it, and they succeeded, and they gave them a little more each year. But not on the level of what we got now. Seriously, what kind of a contract would you give Jim Brown? What kind of a contract? What kind of a contract you going to give Ed Too Tall Jones? What are you going to give Alan Page? What do you give a Floyd Little? What would you give these guys? You'd have to give them half the fucking city, or part of ownership of the team. Even in baseball, think about what what's his name, Otani's making. Okay, and Soto, that fucking asshole jerk off motherfucker, piece of shit, should be thrown out of the game. He just proved that he ain't in it for the game. He's in it for the fucking money. That piece of shit. We'll get into that another time. But you're paying him that kind of money? Well, if you're paying him that kind of money, you might as well fucking quadruple it for Babe Ruth or Hank Aaron or Joe DiMaggio, Stan Musial. You might as well. The list will go on as far as just triple his fucking salary, and that's what you're looking at, guys. DiMaggio, Garrick, Rose, Sandy Koufax, any one of them. Okay, you could take that. Same thing in football. All right, what are you going to give Bradshaw? What are you going to give Franco Harris? What are you going to give? Tony Dorsett made okay money because of the time. But let's put him in the mid 2000s. What are you paying him? What are you going to pay Walter Payton? These guys made chump money. They made bullshit money. Most of their fucking money came off season, hustling fucking car ads and fucking supermarket ads and this ad, all local ads pretty much. They weren't on fucking national TV selling fucking shoes and cologne and douches and whatever the fuck else they can get their hands on, the greedy bastards for money. No, these guys had to do that. Okay? O.J. Simpson won the Heisman. O.J. Simpson was the first running back in the history of the game to get over 2,000 yards. Okay? And he's running through the airport for Hertz on a TV commercial. Okay? That's just let that sink in for a second. You think, oh, Heisman, he got all kinds of money at that time. No, he didn't. He had money. He had good money for the time. But if he had really good money, he wouldn't have been running around on a fucking Hertz TV commercial or the other commercials he was on. Yoo-hoo. He was on Yoo-hoo. Remember seeing it as a kid. Okay? All my heroes were on TV selling fucking cars and booze and whatever. Anything they can get their hands on. They needed the money. They had a family to pay for. The NFL, yeah, they're getting decent. That was, are you serious of what they were paying these guys compared to what they're fucking paying them today? It's all hindsight. I get it. Maybe. But in a realistic world, it's not out of the realm to say that whatever they're paying these guys, you have to double or triple to pay them. A lot of these guys are protected today in all sports. They protect. I get it. Why are they so fucking bent hell on protecting these fucking guys? Did you ever see their fucking paychecks? You'd want to protect them too. Well, okay, you can't have the best of both fucking worlds here. So if protecting them is taken away from the sport and the integrity of the sport and the fan base of the sport and all that other happy horseshit that goes with it, you can't do that. Look, the NFL is the world's biggest money-making machine when it comes to sports. We all know that. I mean, that's where the money is. You look around at all the other sports, they all make money. None of them, nobody comes close to the NFL. It's just not, right? They were talking about a boycott. People are going to boycott. They're not going to watch the Super Bowl. Well, if you watch my show, I told you, it's probably going to be the biggest audience ever. There's going to be more people tuning in to see if the Chiefs get the fucking good calls and win the game because of a bum fucking call. That's why people were tuning in. They're not tuning in because they gave a fuck. What was it, 146, or 148, 156 fucking million people watched it? Like half the fucking country watched it? You think half the country cares about football? To that extent? No. You had better games and shit like that. You had better matchups. You had better teams, and you had better Super Bowls, man. That was just a hype. That was the NFL fucking guaranteeing a big audience. And they got their wish. They did. Congratulations, though. Hey, I'll bitch and complain all day and every day about all kinds of shit in the NFL. I really don't care. I love the fucking game. If I didn't, I wouldn't be fucking complaining as much as I do about shit. You know, and that's how it is. But seriously, when we think about, like I was saying, man, when you put it in perspective, let's be real. I mentioned a whole bunch of names. I've forgotten. There's names I should have mentioned, but there's so many of them. There's so many names out there that you could put on that list. I mean, Super Bowl will be 60 years old next year. So we have 60 years of what we call the Super Bowl era. And within that Super Bowl era, the Super Bowl didn't make it big until maybe 75, 76. Bicentennial. Super hyped. Country celebrating our 200th anniversary. Super Bowl kicks the year off. The Super Bowl kicked that year off. And what a better game. Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the best defensive battles in the history of the game. Both sides. Now 40-22. Or the other blowouts. Billy Joe Dupree, Randy White. These guys were a cut above the rest, man. They're a cut above the rest. And you could take any one of them guys from back then and put them in today's game, and they will be on top again. when you're born with that talent, and then you have these masterminds now of the offense guru, the defense gurus, guys in the booth, guys on the field, headphones, this, that. There was none of that. None. Zero. Go back and look at all the old games and everything. When they show the coaches on the sideline, most of them were dressed in shirt and tie and jacket and fedora. Maybe they got a rolled up piece of paper in their hand. For you young people, do you know how they used to get the calls into the game? They'd rotate guys. Who's ever going in the sub? Come here. You tell the quarterback this. He'll know what to do. Verbal communication back and forth. None of this. None of that. None of that. Fucking screaming and hollering and yelling and telling them what to fucking do. But making a play call by sending in your tight end. Tight ends were the messenger man. Most of the times it was the tight end. Yeah. Most of the time it was the tight end. Same thing on defense. You go back and look at an old Monday Night Football game. When they're making, between the play or something, players coming in and off the field, you'll see a defensive player run on the field, and when he goes to the huddle, he raises his hand. I have the play. I'm the guy who has the play. I just came off the sidelines. I got the play. The coach talked to me. And then the coach for the offense would call his tight end over, tell him something in his ear. He'd run out. He'd tell the quarterback, and the quarterback would relay the play. So throw that into the equation. None of this stuff. I'll look at the play here. None of that. It all had to be done right fucking here. Right fucking here with these two things right here and the brain right there. That's what it took. And that's why these guys that I talk about from here on in with the 60s and the 70s, when I go back and you think I'm crazy when I talk and tell you guys are better than you ever seen, because you're only seeing these guys. I saw them guys play. So you're going to hear, like I said, you're going to hear some names, some teams. You're going to hear about some great games. You're going to hear about a lot of cool stuff. So what I suggest is you follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification on YouTube, hit the notification. You know what to do over there on YouTube, Rumble. Fuck, I'm telling you, I love you guys, man. My audience has grown. I'm telling you, every show I put out there, look at these numbers, and the numbers grow. And I noticed something about Rumble. If you're watching on your TV, you can't like it. All you can do is either turn it, fast forward, rewind, or stop, or pause. There's no way to like. So I guess the only way to like is on a laptop or on your phone. So if you got it on there and you're watching either way, hit the like for me, man. Appreciate it. Hit the follow, too, while you're at it. That's another thing. They got to work on that for the live. When it's on TV, for some reason, you can't follow anything or anything. Like on YouTube, you could do it. You can hit the thumbs up. You can do this. For some reason, on Rumble, it's not doing that on the TV, as far as watching on TV, whatever. Through the TV app. I think you get the point. Okay. So anyway, reminder. Next Tuesday night, we'll be back with Week 2 and Week 3 of the 1960 NFL AFL season, starting with 1960 for the NFL History Show, because that was the first year of the AFL. That was their first year. And it was pretty cool and pretty fun to look back on that Week 1. I'm pretty surprised, man. That Browns game really got me, man. 156 and 153 rushing. Woof. Man, that is one hell of a day on the ground. But hey, man, you got Jim Brown. Jim Taylor, boy. You got some serious meat in that backfield. But yeah. So hey, we appreciate you all for stopping in tonight. And like I said, hit that follow, Rumble. Hit that notification over there on YouTube, because like I said, sometimes we just come on. We just pop on here, but we'll definitely be here next Tuesday night. I probably got another show coming up at the end of the week. Maybe Thursday or Friday night, we'll put something out there. But until then, folks, let's see if we can Whoop. Yeah, that's one. All right, so folks, until next time, we're going to get ready to get out of here for now. I really appreciate you all for stopping in and hanging out with us for a while and learning a little bit. I hope you got something out of this. And if you did, man, make sure you're back next week, man, because we're going to continue it. We're going to run through the whole season, the whole 1960 season, NFL, AFL season. We got 14 weeks of regular season in the AFL, 12 in the NFL, and then the playoffs and championships in both leagues. We'll break all that down. And again, appreciate you all, man. Thanks for hanging out. Rumble, guys, awesome, man. Please, if you could help the show, here's 2 ways to do it. Get it in the description. There's sponsors there. There's W energy drinks. If you're a gamer, you want to stay up all night, try some W. If you want to look cool while you're playing your games, get some Reaper apparel. All right, and then check out Christiana's designer handbags and Bowser Bros painting. I got a link in there for Johnny Basement, who is due back any day now. Boom, boom. So check out Johnny Basement. Link is in the description. Remember, if you go there with class and dignity and be cool. Here, you can motherfuck all you want. I really don't care. That's why we're going to have some fun. Get in that fucking live chat. Get in the comment section. Do whatever you got to do. That's what we're here for. Also, in the descriptions is my Rumble link. YouTubers, come on over. Come on over to the Rumble, baby. Get on board on Rumble. So if I get all my YouTubers over here on Rumble, we'll definitely skyrocket to #1 as far as sports entertainment goes, bringing you the best breakdown of sports, NASCAR, football, hockey, wrestling, whatever. All right, people, we're going to get out of here. Love yous. Hope you had fun. See you next Tuesday night. Maybe see you Thursday or Friday. You never know. We're just full of freaking surprises around here. So, anybody got anything to say before I leave? Before I check out, anybody got anything to say?
Good evening.
Okay. Thank you. All right, people. Until next time. Remember, when you come up to the 3rd floor, always remember before you come up to the 3rd floor, make sure you bowl up, make sure you bong up, and then beam on up to the 3rd floor. And we'll be up here chilling out, hanging out, waiting for you to come chill with us while we hang out in time and space. Peace.